Joining us now to talk about going back in person to meet and greet and the senior resources in our community is the Executive Director for the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, Suzanne Levine. Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us again this morning.
Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
I am. Suzanne, so you have been doing the Cup of Connections for a little bit now. Can you talk a little bit to our audience about going back to in-person meet and greets, especially with networking with businesses in our community?
I think there is an excitement about being in person again because nothing will really replace that one-on-one connection. So I was able to kind of reconstitute our Cup of Connections. Prior to the pandemic, we were meeting at a couple local coffee shops, but I thought what a great opportunity for our local businesses to host them. And so they're the second Friday of every month from 8 to 9. Today we were at Provision Living of West Bloomfield. And although I'm not ready to be in assisted living, it is really the resources, the facility there, it's gorgeous.
And Suzanne, you do a lot of networking for all the businesses in our community. Could you give some tips to our business owners who are just now starting to get back in person and do some networking with other business professionals, or maybe looking to those younger people trying to get jobs, networking there? Can you give us some tips on what people should do to make a good first impression?
Yes, many years ago, I used to teach a college course, and I always told my students, there's no second chance for a first impression. So everyone should dress accordingly, and especially if they're looking at each connection as a possible interview for a job or just an opportunity for someone to connect them to someone that could help them in their business. So basically, just make sure that you bring business cards. Make sure that you're groomed. And I always tell people, especially if they're going to an interview, make sure that you do your due diligence and interview the company and make sure they understand what their mission and vision statement is. There's nothing worse than being called into an interview and having the interviewer say, what do you like about our company? And the person going, duh. It's like, not knowing anything about the company, but just knowing that they want a job. So it's really important to, do your homework. And when you're going to these Cup of Connections, I always tell people, if you have a name tag, make sure that you bring business cards. And it was really very successful today. A lot of meaningful connections were made. And so I'm excited that I can actually connect people one-on-one, because we know, especially when it's money and health, those are trust issues. No matter how many flyers you send out or brochures, you're not going to get the same impact as someone getting to know you and saying, wow, I would trust putting my parent in this facility. I would trust myself hiring this attorney or a real estate agent. So those are trust issues, and it's really important to get out in the community whenever there's an opportunity to network so that people get to see who you are and, hopefully like you.
Suzanne, you had that Cup of Connections today at Provision Living. Can you talk a little bit about their facility that they have there, and specifically what type of resources that they have for the seniors in our West Bloomfield community?
I was really impressed. They have 1 and 2 bedroom facilities for assisted living, but they have monitors in the room, not ones that are, spying on the people that live there. But if they fall on the ground, there is something that sends an alert out to the nursing staff. They have things in the bed that monitor their body temperature and get to know them, so that if there is something wrong, they can quickly, make sure that the person living there is taken care of. They also have a memory care there, which we know that unfortunately a great deal of our population is going to be needing. So the quality of care seems to be excellent, but the facility is brand new and it's beautiful. They have a movie theater, they have an exercise room, they have all kinds of activities, and they cater to all different types of religious beliefs. So it really is a beautiful facility, and they're always open for tours. And I advise people that before they really decide where to send their parents, we do have a couple agencies in our chamber. One is Care Patrol, where they will take you on tours of these different facilities. There's no charge to do that. They can always visit our website, westbloomfieldchamber.com, or go to our senior resource guide also on our chamber website.
And Suzanne, for all of the different senior facilities and resources that we have in our community, could you talk a little bit about the expansive community that we have for the seniors in our community and some of the reasons that people should, if they're looking for a senior facility or a memory care facility, why they should choose West Bloomfield to send their parents or loved ones there?
Well, we have quite a large senior population in West Bloomfield. And so, as adapting to that, within the chamber, we created our senior resource group. So not only are these different companies and businesses and organizations cater to different senior needs, but through West Bloomfield Parks and Rec, they also offer free classes for seniors. And I guess technically a senior is anyone 50 and above, which used to sound so old, but suddenly doesn't. So these are great free resources. West Bloomfield Parks and Rec does a great job of catering to that community with all kinds of resources. And they can always, as I say, visit our westbloomfieldchamber.com, go to our senior resource guide and see all the different senior resources, organizations, and find out more about what their seniors, their parents need. We have so many different senior resource places, from Betty Danto to Town Hall Place, to Provisional Living of West Bloomfield, to American House. I know the Avalon of Commerce in Bloomfield Hills. So they don't necessarily have to stay in West Bloomfield. We have other facilities that cater to this, population, and people should definitely investigate before they place their parent in any facility to see what is right for them.
Suzanne, as we wrap up here, if anyone has any questions either about those senior resources that you guys have at the Chamber of Commerce, or if they have any questions about, those in-person networking events and some tips and tricks, how can they reach out to you or any other member of the Chamber of Commerce to get that information?
Well, the best way is to contact me at the Chamber, wbloomfieldchamber@gmail.com, or call the Chamber office at 248-626-3636. And just as a reminder, even though it's still ways off, June 8th is our free health event, health and wellness, at the West Bloomfield Township offices. So they don't necessarily have to be a vendor. It's open to the public, and there'll be a lot of different organizations and businesses that cater to all different facets of health and wellness. So they can come and get some free swag and spend a couple hours getting to know some of our great businesses that cater to health and wellness.
Suzanne, it's always a pleasure talking to you on Friday morning. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you again for having me.